G'day, welcome to Down in the Woodworks. I don't have my usual sitting position today because, as you can see, I'm a bit busy with some projects. But for this video today, we're going to make a really cool, simple mirror. So these are the last two slabs I have left from the Blackwood log that I've yielded a couple of projects out of. The main one being the Singer sewing machine table. I think there's been a couple of serving trays as well. Anyway, I had no idea what I was going to do with these, so I was just sitting around, waiting for something to pop into my head. But as you can see with this one's stayed flat, which is good. But if we take a look at this one, that's cupped quite a lot. If I turn it that way, you might be able to see it better. Trying to flatten that whole thing again would be really a waste of time because it's only about 20 mil thick as it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it straight down the middle. That'll eliminate, well, technically half of the cupping. So because I've cut it in half, it should only need a very little bit taken off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the two pieces around so the live edges face each other. And I'm going to put in a piece of mirror, just a long, narrow strip of mirror. I don't know how it's going to look. Got no idea. The proportions might be all wrong, but it's worth a try because, to be honest, I don't know what else I'm going to do with this piece of wood. Because this board has a live edge on both sides, the fence on the table saw can't be used. So I clamped it down to a simple melamine sled to be able to make a straight cut down the middle. The pieces were then flattened on one side using the jointer. And the opposite face was flattened using the thicknesser. One of the pieces had some cracking and a defect, but I was just going to fill them with resin. But there was some tear out on both pieces and that had to be removed. The best and really only option I had to remove the tear out was to sand them down with the belt sander. This way didn't take too long at all, and the finish turned out pretty smooth. I then jointed the sawn edges smooth and square. Cut the two boards to final length. And sanded the end smooth, removing the saw marks. So as I said, I used resin to fill the defects in one of the boards. And when it had set, I used a chisel to scrape most of it off. I thought I was being clever here because I was saving myself a lot of sanding, but it turned out to be a bad idea because the resin was coming off in shards, and that resulted in a lot of chips in the resin below the surface. Well, lesson learnt. The only thing to do was to apply another coat of resin and sand it smooth as I should have done the first time. A bit of hand sanding with 240 and 320 grit had these boards as smooth as glass. Next job was to cut a rebate on the back of each piece for the mirror to sit in. I first made a series of saw cuts on the table saw and then finished the rebates on the router table. This is probably my favourite part of any build. The silicone bond between the mirror and the timber wasn't going to be enough to hold everything together when hanging on a wall, so I added 3 battens to the back to give it the strength and security it needed. I drilled pilot holes into the back of the boards and had the depth of my drill bits set in the drill, so I didn't drill right through to the front face, which would have been disastrous. You'll notice in this shot I had to shorten the centre batten because I forgot about leaving space for the hanger. Typically I use this hanger wire single-stranded for photo frames, but there was a bit of weight in this mirror, so I doubled it up. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. As you saw, that was a pretty cool project. Easy to make, you know, great way to get rid of some timber that you may not otherwise have used for anything else, and things like that make great gifts too, I think. As I said before, been busy in the workshop. This is another project I'm working on. It's a coffee table remodel. This table is actually going to look very different to what it originally looked like. But yeah, if you want to see this build, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell. And yeah, when this is done, you'll know that that video is up. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you would have seen I've been putting up some posts on the progress of this table. Yeah, so anyone who's not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. But in the meantime, you guys all have a great day.